So recently I went back and played some of the Naval Strike DLC. Now that was not as easy as it might seem, because the only servers that were populated were the US servers, and that means that I was only able to play at night for me. Now quickly, what have we gotten out of this DLC? Well, we've gotten 4 new naval maps, as well as 2 new gadgets, which are the 3GL launcher and the AA mines. We also gotten a couple of new weapons, which I'm not gonna name all in this video, but the most popular weapon that we have gotten was the AWS. Now of course, we also got the most hyped game mode, I think, in any Battlefield 4 DLC, Carrier Assault. Now this game mode, I think it died out very quickly, and I wanted to go over some of the reasons why I think that the Naval Strike DLC, and in particularly Carrier Assault, has failed. Or at least, in my opinion, I think it has failed, because when I can only find populated servers in the US at night, that means that there aren't a lot of people actually playing it, and I think it has flopped a little bit. Now in this video I wanted to go over some of the reasons why I think this happened, and also how we can prevent this from happening in the Final Stand DLC. Now if we go back to the launch, I think I can safely say that this was the most hyped DLC out of all of the DLCs launched in Battlefield 4. I mean, there were all these trailers and videos speculating about submarines and hovercrafts and stuff like that. There was such an hype built up for the release, and when the release actually came, it was kind of a letdown because of all the rubber banding that happened, and basically it was just unplayable. And I think that this was one of the first reasons why this DLC put off a lot of people. Now going back to the map design, I actually think that DICE did a good job on this one. I mean, the maps look beautiful with all the green and the water. I think they actually did a very good job. I mean, the maps play out well. It's not like one team has a big advantage over another, as in some maps in BF4, Naval 311 Rush last base. But that is not what I think is the problem with these maps. But what I think the actual problem is the carriers. I mean, they are just all the same, and the map design of the carrier, the interior design of the carrier is so bad. I mean, there are only 3 ways of actually coming into the carrier, and one of those ways is in the spawn of the enemies. So I think that that is a poor design. Now also, the interior design of the carrier from the US, the Chinese and the Russians are all the same. I mean, isn't that kind of strange when all these 3 factions have exactly the same carrier with exactly the same interior design? I mean, that is kind of strange. So therefore I think it lacks in variety, and that's also the main reason why I think Carrier Assault died off so quickly, because I mean, the conquest part of Carrier Assault works, but it's just the rush part of this game mode that doesn't really function properly. Now another reason why I think it died off quickly was because of the lack of variety in the maps. All the maps took place in the South Chinese Sea. And if you take a look, for example, at Dragon's Teeth, I mean, there was a lot of variety in the maps. We had the city ones and the kind of green maps like Lumpini Garden. There was just more variety in the type of maps than in the Naval Strike. And when you only have the big open types of maps, you're only gonna attract one kind of people, and you're kind of letting out the people that like close quarters. I mean, sure, there are some close quarters areas in these maps, but the majority is just the big open spaces. Now, the final and last reason why I think it failed was because of the really bad gadgets they put into this DLC. I mean, who was waiting for the 3GL launcher and the AA mines? I mean, do we really need such a thing in the battlefield? I don't really think so. Now, how can we prevent this from happening in the Final Stand DLC? Now, I don't think that the most important thing is the weapons or the gadgets or the new game mode that is going to be included in the Final Stand. I think that the most important thing is going to be the map design, and I really want DICE to put in all the effort into the map design and make it the best designed maps that they can possibly do. Now what I mean by this is make it balanced, and make it balanced for one type of game mode, and in particularly I've got in my mind Rush. So what I want DICE to do is focus on one type of game mode for each map. That way the game mode should be a lot more fun than having a map where all game modes are just cramped into one map, and it really doesn't make for a fun experience. Now another thing I think DICE could do to not make Final Stand fail is add in fan favorite weapons. I mean, they did a good job with Dragon's Teeth by adding the Deagle. I mean, that was a huge fan favorite weapon, and I think they should continue that trend by adding some more fan favorite weapons into the Final Stand DLC. Maybe something like the AK-47, but at least a weapon that the community really wants. Now as for the gadgets, I don't think that they should add any of them in the next DLC. I mean, there isn't really a need of more gadgets. There are plenty of things that you can choose from. and I think it just only makes it harder to balance when there are more gadgets added into a game. Now as for the game mode, I think they should try something unique and maybe not make it like Chain Link, because that was basically a small conquest or a big domination. I mean, make it something unique that we haven't seen in any Battlefield game before, and that really makes for a unique and refreshing experience. I mean, Guerrilla Assault was unique. We haven't seen that in many other games before. I mean, we have seen it in a couple, but just not very often. But I think with this game mode, the interior design of the carriers ruins it a little bit. But the video is coming to an end right now, and what do you guys want to see in the Final Stand DLC? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, then don't hesitate to hit the like button, as it really does help me out a lot. But anyways, this was Hyper, and I thank you all for watching.